students. I hope I'm audible to you all. Those who are attending online, I hope I'm audible to you all. My voice, audio and video is very clear to you all. Yes, sir. Okay. So today is our first day. And from today, we are going to discuss about what, sir? We are going to start discussion on part 3 of EA. So for those who are attending the classes for the first time, let me just give you a brief introduction of this course. So there is a course called as Enrolled Agent. EA means what, sir? Enrolled Agent. Now this is a course which is like a tax practitioner in India. Now in India we have someone called as CA. So in US the same CA is called as CPA. CPA is the CA in US. Okay. Over there he is called as what, sir? CPA. Now over there whatever work CPA can do, similar work can be done by CA in India, meaning all the representing a client, filing tax returns, giving any consultancy or doing audits, etc. All the works which a chartered accountant in India is doing, same work is done by an CPA over there. However, in that country, in US, what they have done is, in US, they have added a new course. In US, they have a new course, or there is a separate kind of people which we don't have in India. There is a separate kind of people who are called as enrolled agent. Who are this enrolled agent? They are specifically the tax professionals, or they are someone who are called as tax practitioners. Like in India, there is something called as GST law. Now under GST, they have something called as GSTP. In GST, we have something called as GSTP. Sir, what do you mean by GSTP? GSTP means Goods and Service Tax Practitioner. Meaning, normally, who can file your GST return? Normally, any chartered accountant, cost accountant, company secretary, or different types of professionals which we have in India, who have good knowledge about the finance and taxation, they normally file the GST returns. However, if a person is not qualified as a chartered accountant, if a person is not qualified as a cost accountant, or is not qualified as a company secretary, he normally will not be able to file GST return because he's not a professional. So therefore, but many people are there who know how to do the work, but still they don't have the qualification. So what the government has done is, they have introduced a new course for those people who know how to work but don't have a proper qualification. They can write an examination called as GSTP examination, which is conducted by the GST department. And this GSTP examination, if you write, you will be called as Goods and Service Tax Practitioner. So exactly similar to this, under US, they have a course which is, they have designated professionals called as enrolled agent, who are the tax practitioner in that country. Who are what, sir? They are the tax practitioner in that country. So they are the people who are helping the different individuals, they are helping different corporations in filing of their tax return. They are helping in preparing their tax returns. They are helping them in analyzing the deductions which are available, what are the benefits which they can take, etc. Apart from all these things, they also help the individuals and corporations in representation. They also help individuals and tax professionals in what, sir? They also help them in representation. Sir, what do you mean by this word representation, sir? These people also help them in representation. All the different individuals who are there in US, and all the corporations which are there, different types of corporation. It can be LLP, partnership, or S corporation, C corporation, etc. So for them, if there is any notice which has come, now we have to respond to that notice. Normally what happens is many people may not be qualified. For example, let us say you have received a notice from income tax department in India. So we have income tax department in India, correct? We have income tax department in India. Now let us say you have received a notice. Now you are a person who is doing your BCom, or you are a person who is undergoing your who has just completed your 12th standard. You are a person who is a chartered accountant or a cost accountant or a company secretary. You are any type of professional, or you have completed your MBA, or you are graduate. You are a graduate person. You can be any person. Okay. Now you have received this notice. You have received this notice. You have received this notice. Now you don't know what should I do with this notice. Let us say you are a normal BCom graduate and you are a 12th or you are a 12th pass out student. Now you have no idea what should I do with this notice. What should I do with this notice? I have received a notice. Of course, if you have received a notice, that means you will have to reply. You will have to go meet that officer who has sent the notice to you. But you have no idea about this tax law at all in India. You have zero idea about tax law in India. So what will you do? You will go to a chartered accountant in India. You will go to a chartered accountant. You will ask the chartered accountant. Let us say I am the chartered accountant. By the way, I am a chartered accountant. My name is CA Dilip. My name is Dilip Rajpurohit. I'm a practicing chartered accountant in India, and I also teach different courses over here with respect to taxation subject only. Okay, so you come to me, you tell me, sir, I have received this notice, sir. This notice is received by me, sir. Now, sir, I want your help, sir. I want your help in this notice, sir. I want you to please help me reply to this notice. I want you to please prepare a proper reply to this notice, and after preparing reply, if the officer is asking me to go over there, I want, instead of me going there, I want you to represent me. So what have you told me? You have told, so first I should help you in preparing reply for this notice. First, what should I do? I should help you in preparing reply for this notice, which I said, okay, definitely, I'll help you preparing reply for this notice. Now I have helped you preparing reply for the notice. Now, if the officer asks you for any extra documents, if they are asking you for any additional details, now you want me to go represent also. You want me to go represent you also in that case. So you are also asking me to represent. So over here, whatever am I doing, sir? I'm helping you resolve this particular issue. Same thing is done by enrolled agent also. He will help people file their income tax returns. He will help them in preparing the different forms which is required to be prepared. He will help them in computation of their income, computation of tax liability, claiming the deductions which are eligible for that person. Correct? He will help that. That is what we have studied in unit number part 1 and part 2 of this course. Part 1 we have studied about individuals, and part 2 we have studied about corporations. Correct? This is what we have studied in part 1 and part 2 of our EA course. Now, in this part 3, we are going to talk about the next level, which is representation. As I told you, you are coming to me, you are telling me, sir, please help, please represent me, sir. I don't know how to reply to their queries, sir. Can you please help me, guide me, and represent me over there, sir? So I said, definitely yes. So in this part 3 of your enrolled agent course, we are going to talk about representation. We are going to talk about what, sir? Representation. So what is this part 3 talking all about? So of course you will be having this material with you. So this part 3 talks about what, sir? Part 3 of EA exam talks about representation. Okay, representation. So if a person has to represent, one of his client, whether that client can be an individual client, or that client can be a corporation, partnership firm, S corporation, private limited company, whatever type of corporation it is. Now, if you have to represent him, do I have a right? If I have the right, what are the different types of representation which I can make? Who are the authorities against whom I will make the representation? What are the stages up to which I can go? After that stage, who is the next person who can represent the client? All those things which we are going to study in this topic, in this chapter, or in this particular course. In part 3, we are going to study about these different things. So we'll start our discussion with unit number 1, which is legal authority of IRS. Then what is how do we practice before IRS, what are the authorization or disclosure which is required, then what are the best practices which we have to follow, what are the standards which we are supposed to follow, due diligence which is required to be required, record which I have to maintain when I'm representing a particular client, etc. So these are the, so if someone steals my identity, if someone acts as Dilip in French, let us say you know that I am a chartered accountant, you have my membership number also with you. Now you are going and representing, you are going and telling everyone that you are a chartered accountant using my name, using my number. So when there is an identity theft, what are the provisions applicable, etc. So these are the different things which we are going to study in this particular part, which is part 3 of enrolled agent course. I hope you got a broad idea about what we are going to study in this part. Part 3 we are going to study about what, sir? What are the rights of an enrolled agent? What, when an enrolled agent can go represent. In representation, what are the different authorities against whom you are going to represent? What are his roles, responsibilities? What if different regulations which he has to follow, etc. This is what we will study in this unit called as in this part called as part 3. So we are starting part 3 of enrolled agent course. Sir, what about part 1 and part 2, sir? Part 1 and part 2, already recordings are available. So if you are new to the class, of course, you can watch the recordings. If you can watch the recordings. But no, sir, I'm not new, sir. I'm completely new to the course only. Then, of course, this is the first part which you are studying. Now, sir, there are totally how many parts? In EA course, no, there are totally how many parts? In EA, there are totally, before I start today's discussion, let me make few things very clear to you all. In EA, there are totally 3 parts. Part 1. Just a second. In EA, there are totally 3 parts. Part 1, part 2 and part 3. All the 3 parts are for 100 marks. Your examination is for 100 marks, in the sense, instead of marks, I'll tell, let us say that your examination will have 100 MCQs. In each of the part, how many MCQs will be there? 100 MCQs will be there. And each part can be written separately. This examination, exam can be written by you separately. You don't have to write it together. So you can write exam. Exam can be written separately by you. Meaning, unlike the Indian professional courses which we have, wherein there are groups and in a group, whatever papers are there, you are supposed to write it together. Unlike that, over here, this is a single course. It is a single course which has 3 parts. Part 1, 2 and 3. Each and every part can be studied separately by you, and the exam with respect to that can be written separately by you. You can write the examination for each of the part separately. Very simple and very easy. You can write the examination for each of this part separately. Now, if you ask me, see, in part 1, what am I going to study about, sir? In part 1, you are going to study about computation of tax liability, forms applicable, due dates applicable for individuals. Basically, in part 1, you are going to study everything about individual. What are the incomes of individual? What are the expenses? What are the deductions? What are the refunds? What are the benefits? What are the due dates? About individuals in and out, everything will study in part 1. And part 2, you are going to study about corporations. And part 3 is about the representation, which I have already repeated, I think 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times I have repeated that. If you ask me what is the easiest to clear, sir, in examination? The easiest to clear in examination is part 3. This is the easiest. This is something which is very easy to clear. Then first easiest thing is this representation, because it is completely theoretical. There is no extra brain usage at all required over here. Whatever point is there, if you know the law, you know the law. If you don't know the law, you don't know the law. As simple as that. Okay, this is one of the easiest because completely theoretical. Here the practical aspects which are there are very less. Whereas, which is the, see, clearing EA is very easy. Who can do EA course? A 12th pass out student can do EA course. So tell me, a person who has just cleared his 12th examination, who has just written his 12th examination, if he can do the EA course, that means the level of difficulty of this course is what, sir? The level of difficulty of this course is very low. Unlike CPA, which we have, this is, of course, very difficult examination. Not that difficult also, yes, reasonably manageable. If you are good in your studies, you can definitely clear. But enroll agent course is one of the easiest course in US. And by clearing this course, no, you can achieve great heights. Please note, many of my friends are there who are just BCom graduate and who have completed this EA course. I've just BCom graduate and completed this EA course and are drawing, my friends in the sense our students basically, are drawing a salary of 12 lakh rupees per annum. Annually, they are drawing a salary just by clearing. See, normal BCom graduate in India, he is earning somewhere between 25,000 to 40,000 rupees. Somewhere between 25,000 to 45,000 rupees, a normal BCom graduate is earning. But just by adding this additional degree, you can make up to 1 lakh rupees per month. I know many people who have done this. I have many of my friends who work at EY or KPMG, etc. They are all chartered accountants, and they have their juniors, or they have their co-workers, colleagues who are just BCom graduate. With that BCom graduation, they have this EA course and they are getting well paid. They are also getting well paid. And why am I saying this? Because this course is not difficult. This is not very. This is not a course which is very difficult to clear. This is one of the easiest course to clear and completely MCQ based examination. And your entire examination is what, sir? Completely it is MCQ based examination. No extra brain is required. There will be a question having 4 options. You just have to select the right option. Okay. Now, I was talking about the difficulty level. So one of the easiest is your part 3, and you are starting with part 3, which is very good. And the second easiest thing will be your part 1, and part 2 is little, I'll not say difficult, but I'll say technical. Part 2 is not difficult, but part 2 is little technical, meaning here you will have to use a little brain. Basically, some computational part will be there over here. You will have to find some amounts, find some answers, learn how to use calculator also. Whereas part 3, there is no calculator, nothing you have to use. Just simple law is there. You will have to know the law. This law is there. This is the application which you are supposed to do. Okay, with this said, let me straight away start the discussion with part 3. Let me first help you go through the entire course, how the course is designed, what are the questions which are going to come in the examination. I hope you got a fair idea about this EA course completely. Now, anyone has any question, you can ask me. Online students, anyone has any question, you can ask me. And we are going to use this Hawk material. I hope everyone is having access to Hawk. If not, this material will be shared to you. We are going to use this Hawk material. Apart from that, I am going to also share to you, after every chapter is done, I'll also share with you a summary notes of that chapter, which you are going to use in the exam for studying in the classroom. Summary notes of each and every chapter I'll be sharing, because it is completely technical. Normally, if you have attended my part 1 and part 2, you would have seen completely we have written the notes. Okay, part 1 to specifically have written the complete notes, correct? But whereas over here we'll be using this study notes, just like part 2. Part 2 also we have study notes, but here specifically we will be having a detailed study notes which you are supposed to use for your revision purpose. Use this, study your Hawk material once. Anything extra you find, you please add it in the material. So using this material, if you find anything extra is there, just write it over here. Any extra point is there, you just add it over here, and your preparation, I mean your material for preparation will be ready. Yeah. So now, table of content, if you see, there are totally 13 units in part 3. In part 3, there are totally how many units, sir? In Hawk material, there are totally 13 units. Now, some students refer some other material. I have come across students wherein they say, sir, there is one more, just like Hawk International, there is one more institute called as GLIM, wherein GLIM also provides the EA material, but where in the GLIM, sir, same Same part 3 has, instead of 13, part 3 in GLIM has only 7 units, sir. In GLIM, part 3 has only 7 units, sir. Sir, why, sir, so much difference is there? We are studying how many units, sir? 13 units, whereas if I study the same thing from GLIM, I will have to study only 7 units. And the material is also relatively smaller, sir. We have to almost study how many pages? We have to almost study 268 pages, sir. When I refer GLIM, I have to study only 150 to 180 pages, sir. So why, sir, such difference is there? What happens in GLIM is they have merged a few topics, and some topics they have not taken at all. I mean, that material is completely from exam point of view. If you want to have any extra understanding about any concept which is there, it is not there. For example, like this chapter is only skipped, legal authority of IRS. This is merged with other topics, of course, but it is completely skipped only. Legal authority means what, sir? IRS we have. In IRS, who are the different authorities? What are the different authorities? What are their rules? How is the law made? So that concept only they have removed. So if I don't know whom am I going to go represent, in front of whom am I going and representing, how will I come to know about what representation I'm making? So over here, Hawk is one of the detailed material. This is one material which is there, which is completely detailed, which is, I mean, the detail of this material is way higher than what you can expect. Meaning normal human being, he may feel, sir, this many things which we study from this material, you feel, sir, this is so extra thing. No, sir, yes, that is there. But yeah, for clearing examination, this is one of the best material which is available in the world. Okay, so we'll start. You can see the, what is that, praises which this material has got, and we are using this material. Of course, this is not our material also. I mean, this is the material which is given by the institute. Which institute, sir? Which conducts this EA examination. So this is one of the institute where you can register. So very good reviews they have got. It helped me pass faster, easy to read and understand. See, they have given this response, highly recommended this material. I passed on the first attempt itself. Then they say I passed all the 3 parts first time taking them, because this material is so detailed that you will not have to study anything extra apart from what is there in this material. And as I told you, so the entire examination will be computer based examination. You will have 3 parts: part 1, part 2, part 3. Part 1 is your individual taxation, part 3 is your corporations or business taxation, which will have 100 questions, and part 3 is your representation practices and procedures which you have to follow, which is for 100 marks. Now examination is conducted at what time, sir? From May till February every year. Only in the month of March and April, 2 months, no examination will be conducted. But throughout the year, from starting from May, ending on February, throughout the year, examinations will be conducted. Exams will be conducted throughout the year. Throughout the year, exams will be conducted. You just have to go to this Prometric website. You just have to go to this website and see which is the testing center which is available near to you, and go write the examination over there. Presently in India, these centers are there at Bangalore, Hyderabad and Delhi. So these are the 3 places where these centers are there. So if you want to write your examination, you have to go to any of these places and write your examination. Throughout the year, examination will be conducted. And the best thing about this examination is, you write the examination is written, you submit your paper, immediately the result is displayed to you. Here you don't have to come back and wait for 10 days, 20 days, 30 days, 40 days, that, sir, whether I have cleared my examination or not, when will the result announce, etc. Nothing like that. You have written the examination. The examination time will be 3 hours, 3.5 hours or 3 hours 30 minutes is your examination duration. You just write the examination is written, immediately the result is displayed to you on your screen. If you have not cleared, very good, start preparation from tomorrow, and you can write that examination, same examination, after 10 days, 15 days again. You can just write the same examination again if it is not clear. But normally what we have seen is, mostly students will be clearing the examination on time. And here they have given that exam policy, e-exam policy they have given. the testing center you have to go visit over there. Now, do I get a break, sir? Can I take break? 15 minutes break will be given. What are the contents which they are going to use in the examination, the stories they have given? Okay, we'll ignore this for the time being and see what is the scoring method. The scoring will range from 40 to 130. Okay, you should get minimum 105 for passing the examination. So what is the procedure for attending the examination? You first learn, gather information, then obtain your PTIN, then register with the center, then schedule your examination test, etc. Now, this is all theoretical part. Before we start the actual discussion will start over here, which is unit number 1, legal authority of IRS. Legal authority of what, sir? IRS. See, though we have seen how many units are there, though we have seen that there are totally 13 units, correct? These 13 units are divided into 4 categories. These 13 units are divided into how many categories, sir? 4 categories. First, practices and procedures, from which 26 questions will be asked. Then representations before IRS, from which 25 questions will be asked. Specific area of representation, 20 questions will be asked. And filing process, wherein 14 questions will be asked. So totally how many questions will be asked from all these 13 units together? 100 MCQ questions will be asked. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll start the discussion. We'll come back to this material. We'll start learning from this material which I'm going to share with you guys. Okay, after end of every chapter I'm going to share this material to you. In the group I'll share, or it will be uploaded on the app which is accessible to you all. Okay, unit number 1, legal authority of IRS. See, for easy understanding of whatever we are going to learn, no, because I am a chartered accountant and I am practicing chartered accountant and I have represented many of my clients, I will be taking reference of Indian tax laws. Okay, because for you will be more comfortable learning or understanding the Indian tax laws when compared to US tax laws. Of course, you are going to write the examination, which is US tax law examination. But when I'm explaining you something, no, if I link it with something which you know, you will understand it even better manner. Okay. So now what is this legal authority? Let me just explain you this. Let me just explain you this entire concept. Okay. See, in India, we have something called as Government of India. When I say Government of India, that means what? I am talking about something called as Central Government of India, correct? We have Government of India, just like that. The government which we have over there, it is called as US. In US, it is called as Congress. The government in US is called as what, sir? Congress. Okay. Now, not the Rahul Gandhi Congress which you know, but the government over there is called as Congress. Like we have Government of India over here. Now, the government has many ministries under them. So, how is government formed? There are upper house, lower house of parliament. That is what is government, correct? No? So, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha is there. That is only what is government. Now, similarly, they are called as what, sir? Congress. It is called as what, sir? Congress. Now, government has lot of different. This Government of India has lot of different subunits. Like they have lot of different ministries. Like we have Ministry of Railway, we have Ministry of Finance, we have Ministry of Agriculture, we have Ministry of Industries and Labor, etc. So we have different types of ministry in India. Home Ministry, External Affairs Ministry, etc. Correct? No, we have different types of ministry. Here, the ministry which talks about taxation is our Ministry of Finance. The ministry which talks about what, sir? Taxation is called as what, sir? Ministry of Finance. Now, Ministry of Finance over there is called as IRS, Internal Revenue Service. Internal Revenue Service. Now in India, our Ministry of Finance is further divided into different, it has different subheads. One of the subhead is our taxation. And this taxation is further divided into direct taxes, indirect taxes. Okay, this is further divided into direct taxes and indirect taxes, which is direct taxes is taken care of indirect taxes. The direct taxes is taken care by a board called as CBDT, whereas indirect taxes is taken care by CBIC. Now you can say in short, the Department of Taxation in US is IRS. Specifically, the department with respect to income tax, which is the department in US, sir, that is IRS, Internal Revenue Services. Okay, so Internal Revenue Services, this is the legal authority. So now in CBDT only, if you see, okay, if you see in India we have CBDT, this is the main board, that is the highest level. But locally also we have many officers. We have different levels of officers in our tax laws. The lowest level of officer is called as inspector. Above inspector we have superintendent. Then above that we have assistant commissioner. Then we have additional commissioner or joint commissioner. Then we have regional commissioner, and lastly we have principal commissioner, who is the highest level of authority. So just like that, who are the different legal authorities in US tax laws? Who are the different legal authorities under IRS? That is what we are going to study in our unit number 1, which is legal authority of the IRS. Okay, I just gave you a background, taking Indian laws in the context. I just gave a background about who are there in US. Okay, so in India, like we have Government of India, what is the government over there called? Congress. And in India, like we have our Ministry of Taxation, Ministry of Finance, that is taxation is there. They have IRS in that country. They have what, sir? They have IRS. So now we are going to study in detail what are the different types of legal authorities who are there in IRS, what are their powers, what type of regulations are made by them, and what type of law is made, what is the sources of law which they are, what is the source of law which they are using for making the law, etc. So why do we have to study about a legal authority? See, in EA part 3, you are tested not only on what tax rule is, but we are also tested with who said it. Now, we normally know what is the tax rule. We normally know the rule is what, sir? We should not ride the vehicle without wearing a helmet. We should make sure that whenever we are driving a car, we should make sure that we are wearing the seat belt. That is the rule. That is the rule. So we know what is the rule. Now, who said this rule? Who said this? How strong is the source? And whether relying on it will save taxpayers, save the taxpayer or not? Now, what is this point telling? So there is a rule. There is a rule in India that you should not ride a bike without wearing a helmet. Now, okay, sir, yes, this rule is there. This rule is there. I understand this. But what is who is the authority who has told that rules? Traffic traffic police has told them, or the motor vehicle acts have told them. Okay, so traffic over there, Bangalore traffic police have made this rule that you should not ride a vehicle without wearing helmet. So now if I tell you this point, and if the government, if the traffic departments tell you this point, who will have more weightage? I tell you that, see, you are not supposed to say play with your water bottle like this. I say you this. Will you listen to me? Will you listen to me? Why will you not listen to me? Sir, because there is no proper. Who said it? It is said by you, sir. Who are you, sir? Who are you? Sir, who are you? If same thing is said by government, you are not supposed to play with water bottles. If you play with water bottle, you will have to pay a penalty of 100 rupees. Now you will stop playing with it, or at least you will play. If you are even if you are doing that, you will do it in place where you don't find any officials who are going to check. Few years back when COVID happened, government had told that there is complete lockdown. You are not supposed to go out of your house. Don't you think many people followed that rule? Why? Because the person who said was important. Because the person who said was important. In our house also, our parents tell, hey, don't go out today. But do we listen? Why? We are not listening, because the person who is saying it. So we know there is a tax rule. We know that there is a tax rule, but whether I should follow or not, that depends on who is saying about the tax rule. So once I know that authority who has told that, who has made that rule, the weightage of that rule will increase. Whether to follow or not, it will be depending on who is saying it. Then, how strong is the source? The person who is telling that, the source from where this rule is coming, how strong is that source? And whether I should rely upon this or not. Whether I should actually follow or not. If I follow this, will the taxpayer save any penalty? Yes, I'm going to save the penalty. If I ride the bike by wearing an helmet, I'm going to save the penalty, etc. So IRS guidance is not. So what is this point telling? So in part 3, you are tested not only about the tax rule, but also who said it, how strong is the source, and whether to rely on it. Whether relying on it will save the taxpayer or the preparer from penalties. IRS guidelines. See, whenever we say IRS means what, sir? Internal Revenue Service. Okay, Internal Revenue Service. IRS guidelines is not all equal. Some has a force law, some is only informative, and some cannot be used to avoid understatement of penalties. So what is this point telling? Basically, the law which is there is not equal. So you will find different types of law. Some law which is there, like we have different types of criminal cases which can be or different types of cases for which the police department can put you in the jail. Some are bailable, you can release out of bail. Some offenses which are there, for those offenses they will not give you bail at all, and for some kind of offenses there is direct death penalty which is given. For some offenses there is a imprisonment which will be given. Correct? So here all the guidance, all the law, all the different provisions which you are going to study are not equal. Some has the force of the law, and some is only informative, just an information, it is just informative, and some cannot be used to avoid understatement of penalties. This unit teaches us the ladder of authority. This unit will teach you the ladder of authority. Ladder of means what, sir? Who is at the base level, who is at the top level, who is at the intermediary level. Correct? So that ladder will be taught to you. First, we are going to study about sources of federal tax law. When I say federal tax law, it means what, sir? Sources of US tax law. Sources of federal tax law means sources of US tax law. How has US tax law come into existence? What is the primary source? So if I am studying something, what is the source from which I am studying? The primary source is IRC. Internal Revenue Service is there, correct? No. So they have their book. They have their book called as Internal Revenue Code. Okay, they have their publication. Like we have in India, we have Income Tax Act. Correct? No. So we have CBDT, Central Board of Direct Taxes, which is collecting income tax from you. Now, based on what are they collecting, sir? They are collecting based on the Income Tax Act, which is there. They are collecting income tax from us. Now, if I want to know why am I paying income tax, what is the reason, etc., you will have to go where, sir? You will have to go to Income Tax Act. So, what is this primary Internal Revenue Code? So, this primary source is Internal Revenue Code. I'll just give a reference. That is Income Tax Act. So, for the time being, what will we take? IRS is equal to CBDT. Okay, so primary source is Internal Revenue Code, which is a book. which is a book, Internal Revenue Code. So how did it come into existence? Who enacted it? It is enacted by Congress. Congress means what, sir? The government over there. Who made this? Who enacted this book, sir? The government. Like we have in India, we have the parliament. Now, if you are aware with the news, etc., you would have seen that in the month of July 2025 or in the month of August 2025, they made an announcement that a new income tax act is going to come. Income tax 2025. A new income tax act is going to come in India. Income tax 2025. So just like who made this law? How was this made? Now there was a discussion. There was an income tax bill which was presented in upper house and lower house of parliament. So just like that, the Congress over there, the government of India, which we have over here, the Congress enacted this particular book code, which is enacted by Congress, and it is published as Title 26 of United States Code. See, like we have, let me just tell you about one more thing. You will find this USC. USC is nothing but your United States Code. Do you know that in India we have something called as Constitution of India? So like we have Constitution of India, they have something called as United States Code. It is exactly like our Constitution of India. Sir, why, sir, you are taking reference of Constitution of India? In India, if you want to make any law, no, you are supposed to take permission. In India, if you want to make any law, you are supposed to take permission. And who gives that permission? That permission is given by Constitution of India. Who gives that permission? That permission is given by the Constitution of India. So just like we have Constitution of India, if you know, in Constitution of India, we have different articles. We have different articles in our Constitution of India, which talks about the rights which we have, right to privacy, right to free trade. Where is that? It is there in Constitution. Similarly, we have, Constitution of India only, we have an list called as, we have a schedule called as schedule number 7 in article 246. There is an article called as article 246 which talks about schedule number 7. In schedule number 7, there is a list called as list 1 or union list, which gives the power to central government to collect taxes on income tax. Just like that, this title 26 means what, sir? Article number 26 of United States Code. So their constitution, like we have, please note, I'm not telling that it is exactly the constitution of other country. No, I'm just giving a reference to Indian law so that you can understand it in better manner. Like we have Constitution of India over here, over there they have United States Code. In that United States Codes, there is an article called as article number 26. Over there, instead of article, they are calling it as title. It is this particular title of United States Code which gave the permission for making this Internal Revenue Code. Okay. So it is published as Title 26 of United States Code. This is the main body of US federal tax law. It is the main body of US federal tax law. Now under this there are different people. Okay, this is the main body. Who is the main body? Internal Revenue Code is the main body of US tax laws. Federal codes, treasury regulations and IRS administrative guidance all interpret or apply this code. What do you mean by this? The federal courts, like we have High Court, Supreme Court, Consumer Court, District Court over here. What will they do? They will just interpret the law which is there. The law is there where, sir? Internal Revenue Code is the law, and this law interpretation is done by federal courts, treasury regulations. Who are these IRS administrations? Who are all these points, sir? Like we have courts, Supreme Court, High Court. Apart from that, we have Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. We have something called as GST Appellate Tribunal. You would have heard about National Company Law Tribunal, NCLT. We have these tribunals. Then we have inside income tax department only, we have different levels, and each and every officer, we have commissioner of appeals, we have commissioner, a commissioner who is jurisdiction officer of you. We can fight against them also, meaning we can, if there is a case, if there is a dispute, we can go to that person, or we can go to the court, or we can go to the last option available is Supreme Court. So just like that, the federal courts, the treasury regulations, and the IRS administrative guidance all interpret this code, which is the Internal Revenue Code, or they all apply this code. Okay. Importance for EA: when you are in doubt, the Internal Revenue Code will win over IRS publication. So IRS is what, sir? Internal Revenue Service. IRS is like your CBDT. Now CBDT, IRS is like your CBDT. Correct? We have written over here. IRS is like CBDT. CBDT means what, sir? CBDT will keep on giving circulars. CBDT will keep on giving circulars. Circulars are some understanding it has to give, meaning there is some provision of the law is there. About that provision, they have to make something clear. So they are going to give some circular, or they are going to give some explanation. Now with respect to that circular or explanation, should I follow that circular, or should I follow the Income Tax Act? What should I follow, sir? Lawmaker says, when you are in doubt whether to follow circular or the Income Tax Act, please follow Income Tax Act. Just like that, what are they telling? When you are in doubt, the IRC, the Internal Revenue Code, will win over the Internal Revenue Service publications. IRC publication cannot override the code. So whatever publications are there, that cannot change the law. It cannot override the law. It does not have more power when compared to the law. Now, just because it is told that Title 26 is the main body of US federal tax law, etc., the Internal Revenue Code is given in title number 26. Does that mean that is the only provision, or that is the only title which can make? Please note, whenever when I'm referring to title, that means it is like our article in our Constitution of India. So does that mean that it is the only title in the United USC which can talk about tax laws? Like in our India, no, we have Article 246, which talks about tax law, which has three lists: union list, state list, and concurrent list. Union list talks about taxes which can be collected by central government. State list talks about taxes which can be collected by state government. So just like that, is it only the Title 26 which can talk about tax law, or is there any other title, or is there any other article which can talk about tax law? Lawmaker says yes. The main law, the main body is what? The main law or main body is your IRC. But apart from that, there are other titles also which can talk about tax law. That is very normal. Some compliance rules, especially international reporting like FBAR, arise from the Bank Secrecy Act under Title 31 and not under Title 26. If you have studied part 1, in part 1 we have studied about this point called as FBAR, which is nothing but reporting about foreign assets which you have, or foreign bank account regulations. Reporting about foreign bank account reportings. Okay, foreign bank account regulations, whatever reporting you are supposed to do, that you are reporting because of Bank Secrecy Act, which is there under Title 31 and not under Title 26. Now this reporting is done, and this reporting is required to be done while filing your income tax return. When are you supposed to do this reporting? Whether you have a bank account in foreign country or not, this reporting is required to be done when you are filing your tax returns. So because you are filing your tax return, about this reporting, is it given in title number 26? Lawmaker says no. This is given in title number 31 of Bank Secrecy Act. Similarly, there are other points also similarly which we have discussed in part 1. In 2003, there was an FinCEN which delegated FBAR enforcement to IRS. So about this FBAR reporting, it was FinCEN who delegated the power to whom, sir? IRS. You check the reporting, because we may not be able to check. So you check the reporting which will be done while filing your income tax returns. So IRS enforces something that was not originally in IRC. So basically about this reporting, it was never part of IRC, but still IRS is regulating it because it is, that power is delegated to them. This is a typical exam twist which you have to keep in mind. So in examination, they may ask this point. Is it that the main body, which is IRC, that is the only thing which you have to follow? No other reporting which is required to be done? Answer is no. There are other tax rules also which is there apart from in title number 26. Now, I was talking about hierarchy. Now, there are totally 3 branches of law: legislative, executive, and judicial. For a government to run, just understand this in this manner. For a government to run, there are 3 branches. Legislative, the person who is going to make the law. Executive, the person who is going to execute that law. And judicial or court. So if there is a dispute, then who is going to settle the dispute? Just take the example of our institution. Take the example of our institution. Let us say we have our main management who are going to talk about what classes are required to be taken, which classes is scheduled for today. So as on today there are, let us say, around 20 classes scheduled for different teachers. So at different branches, 20 classes are scheduled. Who is going to take the class? At what time is the class going to start? Like for example, before my class over here, there was some other class going on. So the class was scheduled. So after that class, my class is scheduled. After my class, one more class is scheduled. Who will take this decision? Management will take the decision. Then management has taken decision. Okay, today from 1 o'clock, the EA part 3 classes should start. Now the decision has been taken. Now next level comes what, sir? Execution. Who is executing it? We, the teachers. So management is taking a decision. Now the decision is required to be enacted, or it is required to be executed by whom, sir? We, the teachers. We, the teachers, have to take care of whatever decision is taken by the management. Correct? So legislative means what, sir? The person who is creating the law. Then the person who is making sure that the law is implemented properly. Now, if there is any understanding problem over here, that understanding problem will be taken care by judicials or judiciary, which is courts. So for example, in our case, if we say, let us say they have sent you a message that today the class will start at 1. Now we don't know 1 AM or 1 PM. So there is a dispute. So if you remember, while taking admission, they would have always told you, or during the class time, you would have seen some videos which are played, which says that if you have any query, please send a message at help at ArivuPro. Correct? No, something like this they would have told you. So this is what, sir? This is the judicial. Meaning, if you have any dispute, you can call them, you can ask them, sir, we are not understanding this point, sir. You please tell us about this point, sir. Okay, so that you can take a reference over there. So just like that. So there are 3 branches. There are 3 branches of any tax law. First is your legislative branch, then it is your executive branch, and lastly it is your judicial branch. What are the 3 branches, sir? Legislative, which is the Congress. Congress means the government of India, meaning the government of US. Then executive level, who will execute? That is the president, the treasury, the IRS. Then judicial is the court. So what is the role of legislative, sir? They create the law. Okay, they'll make the law. Like for example, we have Income Tax Act. They have IRC. Who will make that Income Tax Act? The government of India. Now that Income Tax Act is there. Now executive levels, they issue the regulations, revenue rulings, their revenue procedures to implement the law. Now those people who are there at implementation stage, executive stage, they are the people who are responsible for implementing the law. I have made the law. How this law is required to be followed? Make the rules, make the regulations. So the executive people, they will issue regulations for making the law, give revenue rulings, revenue procedures to implement the law. IRS is a part of this treasury. Treasury is nothing but, I told you, Ministry of Finance, which we have in India. So there it is called as treasury. Ministry of Finance, which is taking about care about all the finance this thing. There they have all the the Ministry of Finance is called as Treasury, and IRS is part of that Treasury. Then judicial, it interprets the tax law, decides the disputes, and can rule on constitutionality. So judicial or the courts which are there, they will interpret the law. When will the court interpret the law? It is not that just because a law is made, the court will directly start reading the law and pass the decisions. No, 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 no. It does not work like that. It does not work like that. Now, there is a law made. There is a law made. There is a law made. The law says, the law says that if a person earns an income, more than $5,000, he has to pay a tax in US. If a person is earning an income more than $5,000, he has to pay the tax in US. Now, there is a law made by like this. Okay. Now, what is the law telling? If a person has earned an income, if a person is earning an income of $5,000, he has to pay tax in US. Correct. Now, what happened with me? Once I went to US, I went on a vacation. To US. Now there, when I was walking on the road, I found that I found a bag I found over there, and I took that bag. I just, like over there, the people were, no one was interested in the bag, and I just took the bag and I saw the bag and I found that in this bag there were $10,000. In this bag, what was there? $10,000 is there. Now, did I earn this income? Answer is no. Did I earn this income? Answer is no. I just found this money. This is not, see, this money which is there, I just found it on the road. So the question is, should I pay the taxes on this or not? Because law has told, if you are earning something on that, you should pay the income. I have not earned it. I just found it. Should I pay the taxes? Now, when I found this bag, who saw me? An officer saw me. The tax officer over there, he saw me and he told me, Dilip, you'll have to pay taxes over here. You'll have to pay me taxes. But then I said, so why should I pay the taxes? He said, Dilip, the tax law over here says when you are earning an income more than $5,000, you have to pay tax over here. I said, yes, agreed. Whatever you are saying is agreed by me. But sir, where have I earned the money? This is not a money which is earned by me. It is not at all a money which is earned by me. I found this money. So now there is a dispute between us. So where will we go? We'll go to the court. So court will help in interpretation of the law. They'll help in what's that? Interpretation of the law. They will decide the dispute which is there. And they can also rule on the constitutionality of the law, whether that law is actually constitutionally proper or not. Supreme Court decision must be followed by IRS, and once a decision is passed by Supreme Court, even in India, that is binding on everyone in India. It is required to be followed by ministry also. Once a Supreme Court has told something, that is a law which is required to be followed by everyone. So IRS enforces, but Congress enacts. Meaning enforcing means what, sir? Making sure that is followed. Enacting means what, sir? Making the law. IRS cannot create a tax statute on its own. They cannot make any law by its own. Who will make the law? Congress will make the law. If IRS and taxpayer disagree, courts can overrule the IRS. If there is a dispute between IRS and the taxpayer, then who will take the decision? Court will take the decision. That is what we understand by this point number 2. Where does IRS authority come from? Now we understood that yes, we have something called as IRS, which is made through US code, title number 26. Now where does the authority, where does the power come from? Congress enacts the IRC title 26. So first, the government over there, the federal law over there, the government has made the code called as IRC, meaning the government of India has made Income Tax Act. IRC authorizes Secretary of Treasury. The income tax law authorizes the Finance Minister of India to appoint a board called as CBDT. So just like that, IRC authorizes the Secretary of Treasury to prescribe all needful rules and regulations for enforcement of this title. Now this law is made to make sure that this law is followed properly throughout the country. The IRC will authorize the Treasury, the Secretary of the Treasury, which is Finance Minister of India. In India, we have Finance Minister of India, to prescribe all the rules and regulation to enforce this title, to make all the different types of rules and regulations to make sure that this Income Tax Act is followed in India. Who will do this? Who will take this authority, sir? The Finance Minister of India. So just like that, the IRC will authorize the Secretary of the Treasury to prescribe all needful rules and regulation for enforcement of this title. That is the legal basis of Treasury regulation, and that is the basis on which regulations are made. So how are Treasury regulations made, sir? See, normally the law has been made. Now to make sure that this law is followed smoothly in the country, we have to make rules and regulations. That rules and regulations is made by whom, sir? Treasury. IRC as a part of IRS as a part of Treasury, IRS issues administrative guidelines to explain how to comply. They will also issue how to comply the law. The guidelines also will be issued separately. Like for example, in India, we have Income Tax Act, which will also tell us how to file the income tax return, what forms are required to be used, etc. Separately, Treasury Department Circular 230, important circular. Treasury Department Circular 230 is authorized not by Title 26 but by Title 31 of USC. See this symbol, if you see this symbol in the material anywhere, that means what, sir? It is section. SS symbol, when you are seeing, when you are reading it from the material, when you find that symbol, that means what, sir? They are talking about section 330, which predates income tax and gives Treasury the power to regulate representatives before it. So what is this point telling? Though it is Title 26 which talk of the USC, which gave the power to make this IRC, but it is the title number 31 which has authorized that the Treasury Department by way of Circular 230, which will help the income, which will predate income tax and give the Treasury the power to regulate, represent and practices before. I'll read this again. Separately, Treasury Department Circular 230 is authorized by Article or Title 31 of USC, which predates income tax and gives Treasury the power to regulate representatives practicing before it. This is why Circular 230 is in Title 31 CRF Part 10 and not in IRC. Exam will test this point. Okay, so this is something which you have to know. So in normally exam they test this point, this circular number, they normally test this. Substantial authority and weightage of the law. Now this is also a beautiful point. The next point which you have to understand. See, this is a very basic topic, okay, very basic topic which we are learning, very basic topic which we are studying in this point. Now substantiality and weightage of authority. For example, at your house, let us say you are a 20-year-old person, 25-year-old person. Now, so you have parents, you have grandparents. Now, at your house, who will have the most authority on you? Who can control you? Sir, I have a ... sir. I have a girlfriend, sir. I have a boyfriend, sir. That person can... I am not talking about this. I am not talking about this external control which is there. Okay, this is not talking about this external control. Now, there are different levels of authorities. So, if any decision is required to be made at your house, who will be binding on you? Who will be binding on them? Who has more weightage? Meaning, you will have to follow what your father is telling, and your father will have to follow what your grandfather is telling. Though many times it happens that you may not follow what your grandfather is telling, but your father, he has no choice. He has to follow what his father or your grandfather is telling. So who has more weightage? We have different authorities. As I told you, like over here, I told you, we have different officers. Who will have more power? Will the inspector, superintendent, assistant commissioner, who will have more power? Correct. So just like that, the weightage, substantial authority and weightage of authorities. Each of these can factor into substantial authority. So we are going to see the different things. The weight is determined by relevance, perseverance, and type of document. What can be substantial authority? IRC Title 26, final and temporary treasury regulation, court cases, administrative pronouncement, Congress committee reports, certain written determinations when published, fact sheets or FAQs only if IRS started issuing them. Okay, so we are going to study about these points. Now, what is this point telling? We have different types of regulations which can be made. Like for example, as I told you, we have a board called as CBDT, the Central Board of Direct Taxes and Customs, Central Board of Direct Taxes, which will issue something called as notifications. It will issue something called as explanations, circulars, okay, guidance notes. Now the question is, what has more importance? What is more important? What is applicable to everyone? What is applicable only to few people? Like for example, when a notification is given in India, that notification is applicable to everyone who is there in India. But when a circular is issued, that circular is applicable only to the departmental officers. Correct. So just like that, what are the different types of authorities which are there? IRC, that is the highest level of authority. Then we have final and temporary treasury regulations. We'll study about this treasury regulations, which is nothing but the rules which they are making, the regulations which they are making. Now these regulations can also be final regulation, temporary regulations. Temporary regulations means what, sir? The regulations which are not that important, are made only for a shorter period of time. Final regulations means this is the final law. This is what everyone has to follow. Can I say more than temporary regulation, final regulations will have more weightage? It will have more weightage. Then we have court cases. Which court case will have more weightage, sir? There is a matter about which High Court is deciding and Supreme Court is deciding. So whom should I follow? High Court decision should be followed or Supreme Court decision should be followed? You should follow Supreme Court decision. That will have more weightage. Administrative pronouncement published by IRB, Internal Revenue Bulletin, rulings, procedure, notice. So just they will give bulletin. They will give a like nowadays blogs are very famous. Not blog, blog, wherein people will write bulletins, etc. So just like that, the administrative pronouncement published in IRB, rulings, procedures, and notices. Then congressional committee reports. So they have their own committee. Okay, the report which is given by that committee. Like we have in India something called as GST Council, which is a committee which is formed only for taking all the decisions with respect to GST. They will make the recommendations to Government of India, and Government of India will see that recommendation and make the law. Certain written determinations when published, and whatever written, see, please note, we are going to study about this. Fact sheets or FAQs. Many times you find whenever you are going through any website or whenever you are going through any document, they will also have FAQs, frequently asked questions. Only if it is issued by IRS, it will have weightage. Only if IRS started issuing them as a part of press release or fact sheet in IRB. IRB means what, sir? Internal Revenue Bulletin. IRS has said future FAQs issued this way can count. Okay, so substantial authority, who will have more substantial authority, we are going to study about all these points. What is not substantial authority, meaning what will not have a weightage? These are the different people who will have a weightage. But who will have more weightage? The highest level of weightage will be given to IRC than these people. Now in these people also, in these cases also, final and temporary regulations, treasury regulations, you will see that there are regulations are of 3 different types. Which regulations will have more weightage? We'll study all those points. But what do you mean by substantial authority? Meaning what will have more weightage? What will have more weightage? That is what this point is saying. What is not substantial authority? IRS publications. For example, what will have more weightage if I want to just explain you in simple word? Let us say we all know if you walk for 10,000 steps every day, you will be very healthy. Nothing will happen to your health. You will be perfectly fit and fine. Correct. Now, everyone knows this. Okay. Now, I see that I find a person. Okay. I find this person that this person is not keeping well for almost from 10-15 days. I'm seeing this person that he's not keeping well. So what I tell this person, hey, you do one thing. I think there is some issue with your health. You do one thing. Every day you at least walk for 20 minutes every day. You walk for 20 minutes. He's ignoring me. After a few days, this person got admitted to hospital. He got admitted to hospital. When he got admitted to hospital, the doctor over there told that you have a serious heart condition. You have a problem in your heart, with your heart. Therefore, if you want to be all right, it is not a major problem wherein operation is required to be done. But if you want to keep yourself healthy, you will have to walk every day for 40 minutes. Now, don't you think this fellow will walk every day for 40 minutes? Correct? No. I said the same thing. I said him to walk every day, and he himself knows that he has to walk every day 10,000 steps to be very healthy. But when it came from a doctor, it will have more weightage. That is what this substantial authority means. Whose decision will have more weightage? Which decision will have weightage and which will not have weightage? Now they are telling what is not a substantial authority. IRS publications are not substantial authority. Publications are just, it is like something you are printing in your newspaper. Publications will not have weightage. The instructions which are given in the forms, how to fill a form, that instruction will not have that weightage. General content in IRS website. IRS GOV means general content in your IRS. They are just common. It is there. Even if that is not getting updated, that will not be binding on anyone. Articles, tax newsletters, and law review notes which is issued by them. A mere brief that IRS will not audit me. Audit probability is irrelevant. So someone has just told, oh, don't worry, IRS will not audit you. Okay, all these are something which will have substantially less letter weightage. Why is this important, sir? Why are we studying about substantial authority? Why are we studying about this? If a taxpayer takes a position without substantial authority and it causes substantial understatement, then IRS can impose a 20% accuracy related penalty. Sir, why is this point which you have studied very important, sir? Because if I as a taxpayer, if I take a position means if I take a decision without knowing whether it is coming from a proper source or not, without knowing whether it is having a good weightage or not, without knowing it is correct or not, if I take any decision, then it may cause a substantial because of which, if there is a substantial understatement of my income, because of that I may have to pay a penalty. Now many people you would have seen many people, like you would have seen news few days back. The news was telling that yes, there will be this news with respect to silver. The silver is a new gold. Some news like this came into existence, and then the silver price went up to 2 lakh rupees in the physical market. The silver price per kg went up towards 2 lakh rupees. So when it went up till that price, during this Diwali time, people started buying more and more silver, anticipating that it will because it has touched 2 lakh rupees. Now it will go even higher, and people started buying it. A fake demand of silver was created by people purposefully, so that retail investors, the retail people, they can invest money in that. And many people, including me also, I had also seen many videos on YouTube telling silver is the new gold. The returns of silver will be drastic. I had seen many reels I had come across, and I had seen many WhatsApp messages circulating that silver prices will cross 7 lakh rupees, it will cross 10 lakh rupees, etc. Though all these types of rules were there, all these types of news were coming out. Now, just based on that news, should I invest in silver? Based on that news, should I invest in silver? If that same news is given by whom, sir? If that same news is given by, let us say, the government of India. The government of India says, Narendra Modi comes and says that he comes in the news channel and he says that the silver prices are going to increase drastically. Right now, the price is 2 lakh rupees. The price is going to touch 4 lakh rupees. Now, will it not have weightage? Will more and more people not go and invest in silver? Correct? No. So this talks, why is substantial authority more important, sir? Because if the basis on which you are taking a decision, if that person is not a substantial authority, then that decision which you are going to take, that because of the decision you may have to pay penalty. So what is this point telling? If a taxpayer takes position without substantial authority and it causes a substantial understatement, because of which there is an understatement, the IRS can impose 20% accuracy related penalty. What will IRS do, sir? It will impose a penalty of what, sir? 20% accuracy related penalty under IRC section 6662. Relying on outdated or low weightage authority increases penalty risk. Why is it very important, sir? If you are relying on outdated or low weightage authority ka decision, then that will increase the risk of penalty. Both, I mean, this is an example which you are going to see in the material. So, I mean, we are going to study from the material. So, in that example, they relied on outdated publications and they relied on overruled cases, and because of which they were penalized. So, if you are relying upon something which is not there at all, something which is outdated, which is a very old law, because of that you may be imposed penalty. So, that question, I mean, that example is there. See, a few places I have just taken references of examples because when you are going to study from this material, so you may see, Jesse is an enrolled agent. He recently had made a mistake on his client's corporate tax return by claiming a significant business deduction based on the court case that was several decades old. It was almost 30 years, 40 years old. Unfortunately, Jesse was not aware that this case had been overturned or overruled by higher courts in the recent years, making it an outdated and invalid source for his deduction. As a result, when his client return was audited, the business deduction was disallowed and the accuracy related penalty was assessed against his client. 20% accuracy related penalty. Jesse could have assessed a preparer penalty for his negligence. So on Jesse, who is the enrolled agent, on him a penalty will be imposed because of his negligence. Someone else is facing the consequences. So are you understanding? Are you understanding? So what are the different kind of authorities are there? Substantial authority is very important. So now, as I told you, one by one we'll study everything. About IRC titles we have studied. First point is what, sir? Treasury regulations. Anyone has any doubt? Online students, before we continue? Okay. Treasury regulations are IRS official interpretation of IRC. Okay. What do you mean by treasury regulations? They are the official interpretation of IRC. The income tax law interpretation. Income tax law in India interpretation will be done. Correct? It will be done by whom, sir? The Ministry of Finance. The department will do its interpretation and they will pass their regulation, which is nothing but income tax rules will be made. So what is income tax rule? Can I rely upon income tax rule? Lawmaker says definitely yes, because income tax rules is the official interpretation of the Income Tax Act. So they say treasury regulations are IRS official interpretation of IRC, Internal Revenue Code. Court usually uphold them if they are reasonable and consistent with the code. So court usually upholds them means what, sir? Court will normally follow this. if there is a dispute, court will normally go with this. They will follow this. They'll say, yes, this is given by IRS, therefore I am going to follow this. Court will uphold them if they are reasonable and consistent with the code, provided they should be as per the code. Say sometimes which the regulations may there, because it is an interpretation, sometimes while reading, no, I may only do a mistake. There may be a mistake which is done by the presenter only. So while interpretation only, I am making a mistake. Lawmaker says in such cases, court may reject that. Normally, court will follow treasury regulations, but if it feels that there is some interpretational mistake, they may normally rule it out. Courts usually uphold them if they are reasonable and consistent with the code. They are first published in Federal Register and then codified in Code of Federal Regulations. So they will first be published. Like it is just like the law which is made in India. I mean, see, I'm just taking reference. It does not mean it works exactly like that over there. Okay, like we have income tax bill. Any law which is required to be made, a bill will be presented. Once the bill is presented, once it is approved by upper house, lower house of parliament, it will go to the president of India. President will have to sign it. It will become an act. So just like that, they are first published in Federal Register. Normally this bill which is there, it will be open to public. If you have any opinion, you please tell us. If you want us to make any changes, we'll do the changes, etc. So just like that, they are telling they are first published in Federal Registers and then codified in Code of Federal Regulations. Okay, they will be codified in Code of Federal Regulations. Once it comes over here, that means it is a final law. There are three purposes of this. By its nature, the regulations will have three purposes: legislative purpose, and interpretive purpose, and procedural purpose. The legislative purpose means what, sir? It is issued by Congress, expressly delegates the rule making. Meaning, who can make the rule? Congress, the government over there, will delegate that power to whom, sir? Secretary shall prescribe this particular thing. Such a secretary shall make this kind of rule. The like income tax department we have, they will tell the commissioner has the power to make this rule. The superintendent has the power to make this rule. Assistant commissioner may issue the notice for this particular cases. Okay, so that will be delegated. Legislative, Congress expressly delegates the rule making power. And authority level, when I say legislative, interpretive, and procedural, which has the highest authority, the highest authority will be with legislative people, because they are the lawmakers. Nearly the same as statute. It is as equal as the law itself. The regulations which is given are as equal to law itself, and it can be overturned only if outside delegation conflicts with statute or it is unconstitutional. Normally they are equal, on par with the act itself, the code itself. They are on par with the law itself. But they can be overturned, they can be overruled if outside delegation is there is some other point which is applicable, or there is a conflict with the law itself, or it is unconstitutional. Then interpretive, issued under general authority to interpret the code. Interpretive is issued under general authority to understand, to interpret the code. They have medial authority of law. Can be challenged if not consistent with congressional intent. So this, because it is just interpretively, you can always challenge them. They are not actually the law. They are something which you are supposed to follow, but you feel that they are not as per the intention which the Congress has made it, then you can always challenge them. It can be challenged if it is not inconsistent with congressional intent. Then we have procedural, administrative, filing, and practice instructions. Procedural means what, sir? All the other work. You filing of your income tax return. That income tax return, for example, in India, once you file your income tax return, that income tax return will be verified by the computer itself. They will check if there is any errors in the filing which you have done. If there is any error, they will give you an intimation. You are required to correct that error within 15 days. Once you correct that error, then the return will be rechecked. Once it is rechecked, if they are fine with the return, they'll process that. If not, they'll send you a notice again, or they'll send you an intimation again telling what is the discrepancies found. So all the administrative related work is covered under procedural. Filing and practice instructions. It has lowest about how to do something, and this talks about what's how to do a particular thing. Now there are three stages of treasury regulations based on the status, issuance status. Now whether it is proposed to be issued, temporary, or it is final. If you remember the point which we studied over here, whether it is finally or temporary treasury regulations. Now the treasury regulations which are there, whether it is proposed, temporary, or final. Ignore. See, it is basic common English. Okay, as I told you, this topic which you are studying, part 3, is completely what? Theoretical. It is completely theoretical. I am taking reference of Indian tax law and helping you understand in a better manner. Okay. Now, this is common English. This is common English word. Three stages are there. You tell me the meaning of proposed, temporary, and final. What do you mean by proposed? What do you mean by temporary? And what do you mean by final? Proposed means A. What do you mean by proposed? Sir, last Sunday I had gone out with some girl, sir. I proposed her, sir. Hey, I'm not talking about that. So yeah, okay. Let us say you proposed her. Did she accept? Did she accept? Did she accept? Proposed means what, sir? You have put your intention. You have given your comment. You went to that person. You told, hey, I like. Okay. You went to that person and you told that I like you. Okay, you took one, let us say you took one ring and you told that person, hey, I like you. Now this person, has she given her reply? You have put your comment, you have put your intention over there. Has she given her comment? Did she tell anything to you? Hey, please note. I am talking about, normally I will talk, whenever I'm giving an example, I'll talk from male angle only because I'm a male. Okay. So please understand these feelings. Okay. So you can take it opposite side also. Sir, why are you not talking about us girls, sir? Okay. You can please keep yourself in that role. Now proposed means what, sir? I propose someone. Okay. You propose someone. Now that person told, now it is not final whether she has become yours or not. Correct, not correct. Now it is not final yet. Now this person has told, I will think about that. I will think about that and let you know. Now, this person over here has two options. She can directly tell you no, or she can tell yes. But this person over here, this Tarkuri, what she has done, she has told, I will think and answer. Give me some time. I will think and answer to you. Now that means what? You are under a feeling that she may or she may not accept. Correct, not correct? You are under a feeling that she may or she may not accept. Now let us say after 7 days, she comes back to you and she says, yes, I accept your proposal. Now what will have more weightage? You tell me. Ignore everything else. What will have more weightage? Tell me, your proposal will have more weightage because you have taken the first step. Or she telling you, let me think and answer, will have more weightage. Or the final day when she says, yes, I accept your proposal, that will have more weightage. Can I say the final decision which is taken by her, that will have more weightage, because until that day, you are into a confusion whether the proposal will be accepted or not. Correct, not correct? So here, just like that, we have what, sir? We have 3 stages of issuing the state. 3 stages by issuance status. First, it is proposed to be issued. Because it is proposed to be issued, it is not yet issued. Issued for comment, taxpayer generally cannot relay unless preamble says you can, and preamble says you can does not expire. Meaning what, sir? It has lowest weightage. Unless until the preamble says you can follow this, you should not follow it. And it is something which may not expire by near future. Then we have temporary issuance status, effective immediate on publications, valid for 3 years, and gives instant guidance. Temporary means for time period. For some period of time, this opinion has been made or this status has been issued. It can be relayed. So the proposed will not be relayed at all. It should not be relayed on at all. It has the lowest weightage. And if it is a temporary, it can be relayed on during that period. For that period only you can relate. If it is a temporary, for how long has been, for how long have they given that, the, what is that called? For how long have they given that relief? For how long have they given that relief? For that period only it can be read up. So sometimes it happens, no. Let us say normally they say that on 2nd of October, normally you have to pay for bus tickets, you have to pay for whatever charges is there, 10 rupees you have to pay if you want to travel from one location in Bangalore to another location in Bangalore. Now they say that on 2nd of October, due to Gandhi Jayanti, it will be completely free. So there is a relief given. Can I say it is a temporary relief given? So that is temporary. So it will be effective only for that one single day. It can be relied upon only during that period. Final. After comments published as treasury decisions. So once that discussions are made, so first comment will happen. They are going to discuss. Now once the discussion has been made, the final decision will happen. It will be published as treasury decisions and it will have full force. Meaning this is now the new law. It has the highest weightage. Note, IRS is bound by its own regulations. Courts are not. Courts need not follow IRS regulations. Court will not follow a regulation that is too bold or in direct conflict with statute. Court will never follow that regulation which is against the law itself. Court will never follow that. Then, IRS administrative guidance. Next point, sir. IRS administrative pronouncement. Courts will come to that point. Okay, IRS administrative guidance. Now, administrative guidance means for smooth running of the law, they may pass regulations. For smooth running of the law, they may pass regulations. What are those regulations? IRS administrative guidance, day-to-day guidance. For example, in India, we have something called as the Income Tax Department, which is nothing but the board CBDT. Now, what CBDT does is they will make rules, they will make regulations, they will pass some circulars, they'll pass some notifications. Now, all these are done for what reason? For administration of the law. For administration of the law, all these things are done. Correct? So, similarly, they say what, sir? IRS administration guidance. Revenue rulings. It is issued to promote uniform application of the law. And it shows IRS conclusion on specific. So, revenue rulings means revenue in the sense the department over there. Okay. Revenue rulings. So, these rulings are issued only for promoting uniform application of the law. Only to make sure that the law is followed uniformly or the law is followed properly or uniformly between all the people. And IRS conclusion on specific fact. What is the decision taken by IRS on that particular fact? It is published in Internal Revenue Bulletin. It is published where, sir? In Internal Revenue Bulletin, IRB, that the point which you have studied above. And it can be cited to avoid certain penalties. You can always quote them to make sure to avoid penalties because they are official IRS positions. See, what do you mean by this word, sir? Cited. Cited means what, sir? So, you can take a reference of this. For example, if any police officer, once it happened with me. I was on my bike. I was going on my bike and I was not wearing the helmet, to be frank. Now, I saw that police officer was not catching anyone. Okay, I normally travel to this road and never he has caught anyone. And in front of me only, there were 2-3 people who left. One girl and 2 boys left. And he never caught that person. But he stopped me. Now, because he stopped me, he's telling me, hey, you are not wearing helmet. Please pay me the penalty of 500 rupees. I said, what, sir? Just now in front of me, 2 people went. You did not catch them. How come you are catching me? What am I doing? I am citing. To avoid penalties, I am taking these people's reference. So what is this point telling? Can be cited. What can be cited? Revenue rulings can be cited to avoid certain penalties because they are official IRS positions. But they are not binding on court. Court need not follow this. Court may also court may always disagree with the revenue rulings, IRS rulings or revenue rulings, but I can always take the advantage if it is in my favor. But court, but not binding on tax courts. Court can always disagree. Example for the text. You ignore this ruling number. I mean, revenue ruling 8741 20 column law factors to determine employee versus independent contractor. Even if not in code, practitioner use this because IRS applies. So in our unit number 1, we have studied that a person who is doing a work can be divided into two categories. Either he can be an employee or he may be an independent contractor. So what is the basis of determination of that, for which they have given this ruling? This ruling can be followed by you. Revenue procedures. So rulings we studied, procedures, they will tell you how to comply the IRS position. So what is the intention of the department? If you want to follow that intention of department, how do you follow that? How to comply with that? Tell you how to comply with IRS position. Often includes safe harbors. So I mean, if you have studied the first part, at least first part, you will be knowing about these words which we are studying over here. They tell you how to comply the IRS position, how to follow, how to comply with the rulings which is done by IRS. They often include safe harbor rules, inflation adjustments, user fee procedures, ruling request procedures, etc. Like safe harbor rules, same income is not taxed at two different places. For example, if I am an US resident, I will have to pay tax in US. Compulsorily, I'll have to pay tax in US on my global income. Now, if I being an US resident have earned an income, I am a person who is a resident of US, okay, who is a green card holder in US. Now, I have earned income from another country. I have earned income from Japan. Should I pay tax in US on that income? Lawmaker says yes, you should pay. Now, there may be safe harbor rules, which may say that if you have already paid the taxes in Japan, you don't have to pay tax in US. So, safe harbor rules are there. So, these procedures will tell about that. They often include safe harbor rules, inflation adjustment, user procedure, user fee procedures, rulings, request, etc. Also published in Internal Revenue Bulletin. Example, Revenue Procedure 2428 for digital asset transaction rules. It does not create the tax, it tells you how to do it. Now please note, very important point to be noted is this. Ruling is what is the IRS ka point of view. Procedure is how to do it. Ruling is what are they thinking about that particular matter. Procedure is what are you supposed to do. Normally student will mix them. Okay. Then we have IRS notices. IRS will issue notices. Then we have what, sir? IRS ka notices. Public pronouncement to alert taxpayers. Why notices will be given, sir? Notices will be given to make some announcement. This notices is nothing but a notification which is given in India. The notices over here is not that notice which you have received because you have not followed the law. This notices over here talks about what, sir? The notification which is there in India. The notification which normally the lawmakers will give. Public pronouncements to alert the taxpayer. So what is notification? Notification is a public pronouncement. For example, in our institution, we have totally different courses. The total courses, like for example, CA, CS, CMA, ACCA, EA, like this, we totally offer 10 different courses. In the 10 different courses also, if I take CA, we offer classes for CA Foundation, CA Inter, CA Final, similarly CS Professional, etc. So we have these different courses. So on an average, we have around 20 courses which are there. Okay, all taken together. Now, there is a specific notice which they have sent or notification which they have made to CA Foundation student. Can other 19 classrooms also apply that? Will that point be applicable for other 19 people also? Answer is no. That is a specific point which is applicable only for CA foundation students. So others need not apply it. That is a circular. When I say a notification, it should be for public at large. For all they say that on 1st of January, there will be no classes. On 1st of January, there will be no classes. Now, can I say this is applicable to everyone? Whether you are a CA foundation, CA interfinal, EA student, or any type of student you are, it will be applicable to all of you. Correct? No. So this is what this point is talking about. So IRS notices are like notifications which we have in India. They are public pronouncements to alert a taxpayer to new law changes which are there. They will alert you with respect to law changes. They will alert you with respect to disaster relief, inflation factors, or weighted average interest rates which are there, request for comments, and all this appears in Internal Revenue Bulletin. You will have to check that for that thing, and IRS weekly official publications. So in practical world, do I have to see all these things as a student? No. If you are practicing as an EA, yes, you have to take reference to this. Then what is this Internal Revenue Bulletin? Authority weekly collections. Bulletin is your, like, we have weekly magazines which we have, Times magazine which is coming, or we have like we have Auto Expo, the magazines, Auto Gear magazines which are coming, etc. So we have different types of bulletins which are there. Just like that, we have Internal Revenue Bulletin. They have authoritative weekly collections. They publish revenue rulings, revenue procedures. Then they publish notices, treasury decisions, and IRS action to decision. Anything in IRB is stronger than the casual website. Of course, normally what you see on the website, and if it is there in bulletin will have more weightage when compared to whatever you are seeing in any normal website. Not in IRS website only, but any normal website. What we'll do is we'll take a break. We'll take a break for around 15 minutes. It is 2:45 now. We'll take a break for 15 minutes and we'll continue the discussion after a short break. Okay. So I think you are supposed to mark your attendance. Those who are attending online, will take a break now. You're supposed to mark your attendance. Please mark your attendance and share I'll first pause the class and I'll share the attendance register to you.